this point in time. And even if it is what we would expect it to be, it would still cost the district $500,000 a year to initiate all-day kindergarten.
Mr. Ryland?
I do believe that we should have all-day kindergarten for the kids that are at risk. We have that, and I'm very excited to see that. Will admit, as a parent, we really wanted to hang on to our kids, so I think we still need to offer the half-day style for those who want that. We liked kind of the transition of getting our kids started and working their way up to the full benefit. The cost for me is really what I think that we need to study a little bit closer. I guess for my reaction, I believe that August school is here to stay. We're in a situation where that 500 grand may be something that is better spent on getting all of the buildings able to be like this one is, where we have air conditioning full time. And so while I don't know what that's going to take to be possible, as I look at it, if we've got some opportunities to spend some money, we need to figure out, is it going to get the best benefit in all-day kindergarten or possibly some other things. And so I think we need to continue to look at that, because certainly the state's funding is very limited on what we're capable of doing to expand that.
Thank you. This next question's for all the candidates. If elected to the board, what is the first thing you believe needs to be done? We're going to start with Mrs. Hunter.
Well, as I mentioned in one of the profiles that I filled out for, I believe it was the Western Hills Press, the press papers, the first and foremost concern and issue is always school funding. And that it was true 27 years ago when I became involved in this school community, and it's true today. We have to look at the funding as far as what charter schools receive, as far as Peterson Scholarship. So it's an ongoing challenge to look at funding our public schools.
Mr. Riley?
I do agree that funding is certainly one of the biggest priorities. We are going to be in a situation where we need to make sure our financing is going to last, and we had our last levy go through, which has been a big help, but it is a temporary levy. So we definitely have to take a close look at how that can manage to bridge us, for how long, and when the need to renew something like that is, and what our options are to renew it. Obviously, we have some great facilities like the one that we're in, and somewhere along the line, we're going to have pressure for that. We've definitely got expansion in the district. Certainly out by Springmeier, some facilities like Springmeier and Delhi that are aging. So obviously financing and what we need to do about some of our district buildings getting refreshed, I think is going to continue to be a priority, and has been for a while, but I think it's going to continue to become even more one.
Mine would be first to build up the trust back in the community. I believe the whole community is fractured right now. I truly do. I believe that we need to show them that we're doing the right things with their money. Like Mr. Ryland said, 2018, that the levy comes back up for renewal. If we want to do that, we need to fix the community first. We need to get the fracture. We need to come together as a community. We need to show the teachers that we have their backs, right? Period. We need to keep our great teachers. We have teachers leaving in droves, whether you want to believe that or not. Good teachers are leaving. We have 463 teachers in this district. That's down. I'm sorry, 443. It's down from 463 from 2 years ago. People are leaving. Our good teachers are leaving. I spoke to several teachers. They all say the same thing. They need to know that we have their backs. The community needs to know that we're spending their money wisely. It's a group effort.
Thank you. Okay, this next question is for all. We're going to start with Mr. Ryland. It's kind of lengthy. Okay. How can you assure me, both as a parent of a child with special needs and a neighbor representing the West Side in the Greater Cincinnati Autism Society, that the district will adequately support the intervention specialists, teachers, and aides monetarily and with an adequate time frame of interventions? That's one part. In addition, with the new district-wide implementation of positive behavioral intervention supports program, It is likely that there will be an increase in the number of students identified as needing services. How will you ensure that teams will have appropriate support to carry out data collecting and interventions with the positive behavioral interventions and support implementations?
Okay.
You're up.
Glad to have 60 seconds for this.
Can I give them the card maybe to refer to?
I don't know why not.
No?
No.
Yes?
I don't know why not. No, I don't know why
I
not.
am.
Yeah.
I am.
Thank you.
Anybody gonna come lynch me if I
The
say
other
yes?
benefit of getting old now, I need to refer to that, or somebody in the stands will have to hold it. Obviously, I can't answer part of, I think some of the question comes back to testing, trying to understand what it is they need from an intervention and from some of the testing specifics, but obviously I greatly support the financial need for that. Quoting Bob Selworth, all means all, and that's all means. I want to see all of our kids do well, and I definitely want to continue to see that funded. And I realize that it's certainly going to be a place where we see some challenges trying to keep it if we're going to continue to expand the people that qualify for that. I would definitely say I've been an active volunteer in the Buddy Walk. I actually provide sound services to that every year. I've got a cousin as well as my DJ partner. My goddaughter's got Buddy Walk has Down syndrome, and obviously I care a great deal about that. I care about that for all of that. I want to see all of our students do well, and that means a lot to me that they're all able to be successful here at Oak Hills and be successful past Oak Hills. And that's going to take continued funding, which I support.
Thank you. Mr. Cooper?
Borrow this. We currently spend $4.1 million on special needs out of our $25 million budget. I do know that. I've actually looked that up. Is it enough? I don't know. Like Mr. Ryland said, the testing, that's not my specialty. But like I said, we need to get the teachers. We need our teachers to stay. We need teachers' input. Okay, I truly believe that the board needs to sit down with teachers and find out what they need, what's going on in the district, outside of administration. Okay, we need all these teachers. I mean, like I said, I've spoken to several of them, and it comes back to backing them and making sure that they have everything they need to make sure that all, like Mr. Ryland just said, all of the students are accounted for with their educational needs.
Thank you.
First of all, Oak Hills is known for the quality of care and education that we offer our special needs students. In fact, over past years, we have actually moved students from Robert Ross schools into our schools because we have the capability and the capacity to care for those students and to offer them the best education possible. Bar none, there is no school district that does a better job of educating our special needs students. And we will continue to do that over the coming years.
Thank you. Souvenir? Okay, this is to all the candidates, and we'll start with Mr. Cooper. Do any of you have children attending schools in the district? Now, personally, I feel this is repetitive because that was in their opening statements, but
Yes, I've had 4 graduate from Oak Hills in the last 7 years. I'll have another one graduating in about 5 years, I hope.
I have my husband Scott, who is a proud graduate of Oak Hills, and I won't say what year that was. It was before I was on the board, let's just say that. I also have 2 daughters that are both proud Oak Hills graduates, and as far as the quality of education that they receive, both of them have master's degrees in school counseling. So again, I think that speaks well for the educational opportunities that Oak Hills offered both of them, and that they have been able to utilize those opportunities to further their education.
Mr. Ryland?
I do have 2 still here in the district. I have a junior at the high school, and then I have a 8th grader here at Rapid Run. All of my kids spent their entire careers here, from Dulles all the way through kindergarten, all the way through 12th. So obviously, we're starting to see where we're starting to shrink on the end after many, many years of being in all three buildings, but do still have two very active here.
Okay, this next question is for all the candidates, and we'll start with Mrs. Hunter. How much taxpayer money was spent on an attorney in regards to the Oak Hills logo?
I could not give you a specific number because, as I mentioned previously, we have budgeted line items for attorney fees. That is a part of the operation of any school district. You can look at any school district in this state and see that as a part of the budget.
Mr. Ryland?
I have not seen that called out. I have gone through the budget finder every year for the last several years and seen what the total amount for all the budgets are, as well as the legal fees, but I don't see that in an expense by expense line in those meetings, so I don't know the answer to that question.
Mr. Cooper?
I've already mentioned it.
Okay, this next question is for all, and we'll start with Mr. Ryland. How do you feel about future levies?
Well, obviously, I don't like them. I pay property taxes, and I certainly don't want to see my property taxes go up. Certainly, though, I have to admit, we're going to have one at some point. Our current 5-year levy will run out in 2018, and we will quickly have a need to do something. And so I'm anticipating that we're going to need to plan up for that. Obviously, I'd like to see it not be an increase, but at a minimum, there's going to have to be some form of renewal. Obviously, I support that. I've seen the financial from that. We actually had a finance meeting this afternoon, of all things, and took another look at that. And obviously, if you can see where that goes, if there's no change made at some point here. And so we're going to need to plan that. My hope is we're able to hold what we have, get as much out of it as we can, and try not to increase. But a renewal is absolutely going to have to happen at some point here.
Pretty much the same. I mean, I've seen the financials also. I spent 3 hours with Mr. Bain last week. 2018, we're going to have to either have a renewal, or we're going to have to have a levy. And we need to do all we can do between now and then to reassure, like I've said before, get the public's trust back. And they need to be shown that they're doing the right thing with their money, inside and outside of the schools.
Well, I think we have shown over the past 18 years that we are good stewards of the taxpayers' dollars. Prior to the levy in 2013, it had been 16 years since we had run a levy and a bond issue. So for 16 years, this school district did not experience any type of levy, request for a levy. We had seniors in high school who had never gone through a levy campaign. And so I think that speaks well for how we how we've used the taxpayers' money. And again, we will need to look at a renewal around the year 2018. It's just a reality.
Thank you. This next question is for Mr. Cooper, and then we'll go to Mrs. Hunter. How would you handle a complaint about a teacher to the board by a member of the community?
I would refer her back to her principal. That's a chain of command. If there's a complaint against that, they should go straight to the complaint against the teacher, should go right back to the principal of that school building. And that school building principal should handle that issue. And if she feels as though she can't handle it, then she should move it up the chain of command, which would then I would agree, but I assume that would be Mr. Brandt and then Mr. Yogi.
Okay. Mrs. Hunter?
Actually, I've been in that situation. I've had parents call me about situations in various schools. And actually, the chain of command is to recommend to the person that they speak directly to the teacher. So that's the first level. If there is no satisfaction at that level, then they need to speak to the principal. The principal is the next line in that chain of command. And then you can go on up the ladder from there to the superintendent's office from there. You don't ever want to leave the principal out of that process, however.
Mr. Ryland?
Well, obviously, the first thing I want to do is make sure those chain of commands have been met. My assumption is that it's gotten to me and those chain of commands have been met. Then at that point, if there's still something and we need to have a discussion, then obviously it's something that's only appropriate in executive session as the board. So if it's obvious that it's been through the chain of command and it's obvious that there's still an issue that needs to be worked, then it's the right time to vet some things with the personnel director, and then if necessary, let the board discuss that in an executive session if it should deem that. Hopefully, that's a very seldom occurrence, but that's the last place it's going to stop is here, and so if it's followed the process, then it's time for the board to do a discussion on it to understand better what's happening.
Thank you. This next